So I thought I'd create this video purely to be a source of information so that people don't need to go through the 3 hours that I spent today doing something which could have been avoided. It's about renewing your Saudi driver's license. So they give you about ample warning. I got various text messages saying that the license would end, but I just kind of left it to the last minute, literally to the last day. I did some research online, and it spoke about going through to Absher, filling out forms, doing medicals, a whole rigmarole, and actually none of that was applicable. Got into work, asked someone, like, what should I do? They said, go to the Marur, which is basically like a traffic department, I assume. So I proceeded to go to one of these places, just a Google search, and I went over there. Got over there, and the guy said, no, you're in the wrong place. You need to go to another department across town. That took me about 40 minutes to get to. Okay, so the first place took me about 20-30 minutes to get to, so this was another 40 minutes sitting in traffic. Get to the second place, ask the first person, ask the second person, ask the third, ask the fourth. Nobody could help, or nobody understood me, and it was kind of a back and forth of what needed to happen. Eventually got out to someone, and they said, nope, this is the wrong department. You got to go to another, let's say, department, which was Dala, which is a driving school slash getting your license. So I thought, okay, this is probably the best bet. So I get there, place is full, and got out to someone, really cool guy, spoke good English, and he said, no, none of the above was correct. What you actually got to do is you got to go through to Absher, which is an online application, which I am registered with, and that basically has all of your information linked to your karma. So that made sense. So he said, go on there. You've got to do your renewal application on the platform, and then you need to do X medicals and then come back to me. So I thought, okay, cool, that's the kind of sounds right, so let's try that out. So I then end up going back to work, and this is now 3 hours past, to get different information from another colleague. So this colleague said, okay, see, you don't need to do any of that. Basically what you got to do is you got to go onto Absher, do the renewal process, pay some fees, and then basically you can do it all online. So I thought, okay, cool. I then went onto Absher, went through the process, which is fairly simple. The application's in English, but it said that you've got to do your medicals. So I thought, okay, cool. So then they have a prescribed list of hospitals which are authorized to do, let's say, these medicals. Went onto the list. You basically have options where you can filter district, what type of test, who's authorized and who's not authorized. Kind of filtered those, and then took that information, just put it into Google Maps, and then Google Maps gave me like where obviously approximately this place was to where I was at the particular time, and found a hospital maybe not even 5 minutes away. So bear in mind, my license expiry date ends today. So if I didn't have a license, that's obviously a big problem. If I land up in an accident, X, X, and X. So yeah, I left it for the last, and I had pretty much 180 days to sort it out. So I rush off to this polyclinic, asked them if they were an authorized center. They said yes. The person said, okay, cool, what do you want to do? So I said, I want to renew my driver's license. They asked me for my driver's license and my karma. They put it on the system. 2 minutes later, I was in a doctor's office. They did an eye test. I came back to reception. Reception put it into the system, and that was it. Oh yes, and another thing was they phoned, or I phoned my HR because they needed a number or a company number. I don't know exactly what number they needed, but HR basically gave them this number, and my assumption is that that number links to Absher, and they can obviously pull your data and X. So that was cool. That got sorted. Left that place, came back to work, checked up on Absher, and nothing was on the system yet. And then about maybe half an hour, 45 minutes later, got an SMS from the hospital saying that the information was sent through to Absher. So I then went through to Absher, and it allowed me to progress after following, let's say, the renewal process step. So it was fairly easy to get through to that on Absher, because basically it has a search option, and in the search option I typed renew license, and then basically the option for renewal came up. I clicked on that. It was linked, so it just allowed me to go to the next step, and the next step was they asked you how long would you like it to be renewed, and they had 1, 2, 5 and 10-year renewals. I chose the 5-year renewal, and it only cost 200 SAR. I click yes, paid the amount via my bank. So I paid the amount via my bank, which is also linked. If you go onto your bank, as most banks are in Saudi Arabia, you have the option for Sadat, and then under Sadat there was an option for MOI payments, and under MOI payments you can do various things like renewal of license, e-commerce, paying for visas. So that was fairly easy. Got that sorted by paying the amount over there, which was the 200 SAR, and then clicked on Absher, went through to the end, and then one of the last few steps, it says, would you like to pick up the license or get the license delivered to you? So obviously I chose the delivery option, which only cost me 15 SAR to get delivered, and it issued my renewal of the license immediately. So now I've got a renewed license, waiting for my card, and it pretty much took me like 45 minutes max to do all of that after finding out the correct information, which was cool. Another thing was, what was it? So did the Absher did, oh yes, so the address that you have on Saudi Post, because they deliver it through Saudi Post, needs to be a registered national address. And if you've got a registered national address, that's the address that it sends it to. If you don't, then you'd obviously have to first go through to Saudi Post, register it there, and then that would be linked. So all in all, I could have saved like 3 hours of my day if I knew that correct information. So hopefully this helps you.